Hello friends! Okay, we're gonna have some fun stitching today. This darling hat that I sneak peeked in our Stitch It group. So if you aren't part of our stitching group, you need to be. We have a free Facebook group. It's called Stitch It with, oh my gosh, what is it called? Yeah, Stitch It with ADORNit. Anyways, come join us in that free Facebook group because it's so fun over there. We have so many women that share what they're stitching and offer tips and tricks. And like when I was working on this cute hat, I posted a sneak peek over there. So we'll post a link. I didn't think to link it before I went live, but we will post it over there. So when you jump on here, shout out hello. I want to hear from you guys. We just thought it would be fun to go live today. Let me see if I can put in my AirPods too. So that we why you don't have sound. Denise doesn't have any sound. Linda doesn't have any sound. I don't know. But everybody's saying no sound. Let's see. Maybe if I take my AirPods out. Does that help? Still no sound? Everybody? Very weird. I don't know. I don't know why we don't have any sound. If we don't have sound, I might have to get back off. Hi, Robin. Tammy says she can hear me now. Hi, Heather. I don't know. Chris says it just came in. Chris has sound. Okay, maybe it was my AirPods. Usually they help me. So apparently they weren't helping today. Hi, Phyllis. So we won't do AirPods today. Okay, well, we have lots of friends on, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip this camera. Let me see. Right here. And put you on the work surface here. So just a second, bear with me while I move the camera around and get this all situated. Okay, Jody says she has sound. Good. Lots of people have sound now. Okay. here we go. Okay, so the fun threads on this one, you guys, there's 6 fun different threads. Look how pretty those are. I'm channeling spring, even though we just keep on having, winter storms here, you guys. We got more inches today. My cute graphic designer couldn't come into work because she got snowed and she's over the mountain and couldn't make it through. So I don't know. Okay. My mom's saying, show the cute hat again. So this is what we're going to stitch today, guys. So look how fun that is. It turned out so cute. So again, we have this available as a kit. So we have the ball cap and the stitch pattern available. We also have it available where you can get your thread kit too. So if you haven't stitched with a lot of our thread kits and you need thread, we have that available. But we also have it without for those of you that have lots of threads like us. So we have it available both ways. And sorry, I'm gonna just move us down a little bit right here. Okay, the instructions will come like this. It's just like a easy flyer. We'll talk about how to stitch it up. So, and then I have the stitch guide on here of what we're doing. And they're really pretty basic stitches, but I wanted to just have some fun and go through this with you guys. Okay. If you guys lose sound, I don't know why. I'm hoping we'll be able to go back and watch a replay later and it should be there fine. So not quite sure why you guys are losing sound. Everybody's ready for spring. I know. I think we're all feeling the spring fever. We just need spring, right? So fun. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to teach you my favorite flower, which is the woven rose right here. And we don't use this a lot on our hand embroidery clubs. But for fun projects like this, it's great. So I will be teaching you that one. So I'm just going to put the hat here so you guys can see it. And I stitched this one on the airplane. You guys, I get asked all the time if you can stitch on a plane, and the answer is yes. I just keep everything in one of our cute ADORNit bags, and then you can take scissors on the plane, and your needles are fine to take on a plane. All of that is the hardest part is if you want to actually stitch on the plane. Usually, you know, you're just crammed in there like little sardines. So I don't typically stitch while I'm flying if I don't have a lot of elbow room, because I don't want to sit and elbow the person. But it's a great thing to do to pass the time while you're waiting to catch your flight, because a lot of time is spent in airports. So that's typically what I do. And then if I do have a lot of elbow room, I will stitch on the plane. But if we're tight, I don't usually do it because I don't want to annoy the person next to me. So funny, huh? Okay, so here's the hat. Let me zoom out a little bit for a minute if I can. Okay, so your hat comes with a cardboard insert. Okay, so you're going to want to take this out. So it's just like a little felt insert that they use to keep the shape of the hat, and you don't need that. So that can be garbage. Okay. All right, then your stitch pattern will come like this. And I would recommend trimming it down. And usually I typically always stitch with a hoop, right? And so it's just too hard to stitch in a hoop, you guys. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find the center of your hat. And what's nice is this hat does have a center seam right here, okay? So that you can easily make sure this design is centered. And then this is center right here. It's not exactly centered the way it's drawn. It's a little bit, you can see how it kind of bows, but just get it the best that you can, kind of eyeball it and see where you want your center to be and make sure you like it. The great part about our stitching stuff is that before you start stitching, you can reposition it. So you're gonna take your hat and you're gonna put it on, and you also don't want it too far up, right? So you don't want it to be clear up here because it will look funny on your head. So make sure it's a little bit more down towards the brim. Can you see how I positioned that one? So it's definitely more down towards the brim right there. So that's another important thing to look at before you start stitching, is that it's down towards the brim as you're doing it. And then you just kind of take your hand and just position it on there the way you want it. It is a little tricky to stitch on clothes, guys. It's a lot easier to stitch on a flat piece of fabric in a hoop. But you know what? It is sure fun to try something new. So I was going to see if I can lift this up a little bit more. There we go. Nope, my tripod just wants to keep falling. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. Okay, there we go. I think I got it this time. Okay. All right, now the next thing is to get your threads. And the green is really cute, and it's just a back stitch. So I'm probably not going to go over the back stitch with you because that is just a great, easy, basic. And then we use lazy daisy stitches and that woven rose and French knot are all the different stitches that we use. Okay, so you guys ask questions as we go along, and I will try to read them and stitch. If not, we'll go back and answer questions after the live. We'll go back and look at comments. The other thing someone asked is if we will post which threads you will use. So yes, I will go back and edit that on the description when we're done. Okay, so the green is the 1177 is the stems, okay, and they're all back stitch. And then we use two different pinks. We use whoops, there's some metal art that just crashed. We use 1109 and 1303. And so you can see we have a bright pink in there and a coral. And I love the way those two look together. And then the other one that I'm so glad I pulled into this because I think it is so fun is this apricot, 1239. So aren't those colors together just the cutest? I love, love, love them. So fun. Carolee says you could safety pin the pattern before stitching at the top. Yep, you could do that too. So very fun. And then we used 0567 or 0567 butterfly gold, and then I love, love, love the white. It just really added another fun pop in there to brighten it up. So those are the colors that we used. Okay, so let's just first start with, I'm going to start with white and show you the lazy daisy stitch because that's what we use. I used for all the flower petals. So this was drawn by Carolee, so it's a cute illustration by my mom that's tuning in. Sharon says, baste the pattern. Yes, you can absolutely baste the pattern on this as well. So basting is where you do a really, really large stitch around it to hold it on. So you can absolutely baste it on there as well. So I'm going to use double strand for all of it. Okay, so double strand is where I take and I put my needle in the center of two strands of floss. So I have one strand of floss. I usually cut it about the length of my elbow, and then I do a quilter's knot where I wrap around the needle and then pull with my left hand while holding onto it with my right hand, and it creates a knot right there. Also, I really suggest using a thimble pad. Just because this is a thicker material, it's a little bit harder on your fingers. We sell these, you guys, these are like my ride or die. You need these in your stash. I love them. They last a long time. I will reuse them for several times until it won't stick anymore, and then I grab a new one. So very easy to use. Okay, now for a lazy daisy stitch, we're going to use white on these cute stitches right here. We're going to use pink right here, and then the coral on those smaller flowers. Okay, So for my white, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, you guys, you have to kind of scrunch up the backside of your hat to get your hand in there. So this is kind of what I look like when I'm stitching this. It takes a little bit more patience. And then I just take and oh, and the other thing is there is this fabric brim right here. So when you get down to this bottom section, you have to make sure that you fold this part down to be able to get in the fabric down here. Okay. So it's definitely doable, guys. So I don't want to make it sound like it's hard. It's not. It's just different if you're only used to fabric. Okay. So what I did is I brought my needle up from the back side, and now I'm going to hold it with my left thumb. And with my right hand, I'm going to bring my needle back down like that. Okay. And then I just slowly pull because I'm creating a loop right there. Okay. And then with my needle, I'm going to come back up right there. Okay. And then I'm going to slowly pull, and you don't want to pull too tight so that it creates a loop. So once you have the loop there, then all you have to do is fasten it by jumping over that loop, just a tiny stitch to hold that stitch down into place, and then it tacks it right down. Okay, like that. And then you're going to move to your next one. So I'm going to come up right there, okay, and then I'm going to pull on it. Let's see, somehow I'm snagged back there. Oh, sometimes that happens. It created a little knot. There we go. Okay, so I just pulled that very loosely. You don't pull lazy daisies very tight. Okay, just enough to be flush with your fabric. And then I'm going back down. Can you see that, guys? Very close to where I came up. Okay, and then I'm going to bring my needle back up at the center of that flower petal right there, and slowly pull on it just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to fasten that down just with a little tack stitch right there. Okay, easy peasy. Let's do one more because we do a lot of the lazy daisy stitch on those flower petals. So we want to make sure if you're new to stitching that you know how to do it. Okay, so come up, go around, go back down. You keep that loop. Now see, now I'm more in the middle of my pattern. I just scrunch the back of that hat up, hold on to it, and then I come back up like that. Okay, and then you're going to come back down like that. All right, now you're going to take and you're going to have some threads in there. So you can see how my white threads, as I jumped around and did my stitching, how that's going to look. So as you're done, then you just knot it off on the back, and you just have to be patient and knot it off, and you just make sure you don't crinkle your bill of your hat as you're going it. You can crinkle this part up and move it around as you need to, but just be careful with the bill of your hat because you don't want to crease that. Okay. All right, so let's move on now to a French knot and then the woven rose stitch, and that's what we're going to do today to show you guys. So now the cute French knots, I chose to do all the French knots right above the flower. So I did the flower center in two different colors here. So I did the butterfly gold and the apricot, and then above it I did those little tiny French knots. So those two flowers left and right are the same. And then up above here, I did the butterfly gold on the top, and I did the hot pink down below. So you can see I did change the center of that so that it pulled in the hot pink again into the center. Okay. All right, now we're gonna do the butterfly gold. So 0567 right here. And again, I usually go about my hand to my elbow in length because you don't want them to get too long. That's when they kind of get all tangled and it can get frustrating. So that's typically the length that I like to go. So Brenda says she learned a different way to do a lazy daisy stitch. So yeah, there's lots of fun different ways that you can do these stitches. I'm sure there's lots of different methods. So I just like showing you guys the way I do it. Okay, now with this with this French knot. All right, with French knots, the more times you wrap it around a needle, the bigger your French knot will be, okay? All of these down here, you can see they're a little bit bigger. I wrapped it around twice. So I really kept these French knots small. And so what you're gonna do for a French knot is you're gonna come up. So you can see how I come up and then I bring it so that my knot's flush against it. And then you need two hands. So I have to set this back down on my work surface. Then all you're gonna do, I'm right-handed, okay? So if you're left-handed, you're gonna do opposite of me. So I'm gonna hold this thread, I'm gonna wrap it around my needle once, and then I'm gonna bring it back down very close to where my needle came up. And then I'm gonna hold on to this thread and push this back down with my right hand, and I'm gonna slowly pull it. Do you see that? And that created a really teeny tiny knot, French knot. So again, I'm gonna come up right here, okay? I'm gonna pull my needle so that it's flush. And then with my left hand, I hold the thread. With my right hand, I wrap it around my needle one time. So if you make big French knots, the more times you wrap it around, like I said, the bigger your French knot is gonna be. I wanted these ones to be small. Rarely do I ever do one time around. Like whenever we're doing sewing projects, like our regular stitch club, I usually do, my typical average is around 3 times around my needle. But I knew that I wanted these to be small, so I'm just doing it one time, okay? So one time around, I poke my needle back down through, hold on to that hat. You can see I've scrunched my hat. Can you guys see how I'm holding that hat? And then I'm pushing my needle down through. This is where the thimble pad is really helpful because this is a thicker fabric. I'm able to just push that needle back down with that thimble pad. Okay, and there we have it. All right, one more time. Come up. Then with my left hand, hold it, wrap it around once, bring my needle back down, and pull that down. And that's a French knot, guys. Really, really fun. I think this is probably the one that people have the hardest time with. So it takes some practice. So maybe practice a few times on a piece of fabric if you haven't ever done it before you try it on your hat. So if you're new to stitching and you've never done a French knot, practice it a few times before you try doing it on your hat. It'll make you feel a little bit better to practice it before you try it on a hat. Okay. Oh, that one's gonna be really crappy. You can see I didn't really hold on to it. You could see how big that was, but it ended up going through. So anyways, it just helps if you can hold on to it. Okay, then once again, I'm done with that section now. Here you can go on and you can do that yellow portion, which is a back stitch where you just come up and then go back down. And you can see how I'm holding my hat. I'm just holding it with my left hand and I have it scrunched up on the back side and just trying to hold it flat so that I can stitch. So like that, and then you can just do your back stitch and do your cute hat. Isn't this the funnest? So if you haven't ever done anything like this, it's really, really fun. And it's so popular right now to stitch on apparel. And so this is a really fun way to branch out and do something different and have something really unique. And like I said, you guys will love the shape of the hat that we are selling in this kit. It's a great shape for lots of size of heads. It is an adult size hat, it's not a kid size. So very, very fun. And you can see I'm just taking small back stitches right here to do that part that's yellow on this. And then look how you're left with one tiny little stitch right there. And so you can try and take two tiny ones to create an arch, but guess what I did? I cheated. I just went once. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to tie a knot. And knot it off. Okay. All right, let's do that woven rose stitch, and then you guys are going to be pros at this. Cindy says her daughter's left hand, so she struggled teaching her. Yes, it's hard when you are used to one way and then you have to try and teach it the opposite way. That is really hard. Loretta says she has to go, but Loretta, guess what? We keep this up on our Facebook feed, so just come back, and when you have a minute, then you can come back and rewatch it and figure out where you left off. So that's the great part about our channel, is that you can just keep coming back and rewatching where you left off. Or once you get your kit, if you get this hat kit and you're like, oh, how did Georgiana do that? Then you can just come back and rewatch it. So we will keep it here. And Sharon says she'd love to see more patterns like this. Sharon, we will be releasing more fun things like this this spring. So stay tuned for more fun things. Okay, the woven rose stitch is so fun, you guys. It is like a spokeswell. Okay, so you have to have an odd amount of lines to begin with. So you have to have 5. In fact, I'm just noticing that that is wrong. So I will fix that on our pattern before we ship these out, because that one only has 4. So you have to have 5 in order for the woven rose to work. Okay, so what you're going to do to begin is you're just going to follow those lines that we have on here. So you're going to go 1, 2, and I'm just going to meet in the center. 3, again, I have my hat scrunched up in my hand, just like I showed you before, so I can do this. So there's 4, and here is 5. Okay, so there's my beginning. Now, all you have to do for this is you weave it around this spoke. Okay, so you're just going to come up anywhere in the center, close to the edge, right here. So I'm just going to bring my needle up. Now you're going to go over and under. So I'm going to skip over this one, and I'm going to go under this one. So I'm not putting my needle down through the hat. I'm going under my thread. So I'm literally sliding it under that thread. Okay, so I went over, under. So now this one's over, then I'm going to go under this one. So you just have to kind of keep like telling yourself over, under, over, under. So now I'm going to go over, now I'm going to go under this one right here, like that. And look how it starts to wrap around itself. So I went under that one, so I'm going to go over this one, then go under this one. You just slide your needle right under it. So I'm going to go over that one and go under this one. This is why it has to be an odd amount, otherwise it won't weave itself. Okay, you have to have that odd number. And we're going to go under this one. Typically, I would probably kind of shift this around, but I'm trying to show you guys. So under, then over, and you just keep going around, and it will build upon itself. And it's the cutest little flower. And you don't pull it too tight, because you want these to be kind of loose, so that they look like flower petals. You guys see how I just kind of keep it loose so that it starts to create that petal. Okay, let's see, under that one, so I gotta go over that one, and then there's one under here, I gotta go under that one, like that, over, and under, this one, over and under. And you're just going to keep on going until you reach the outer part of that circle that's printed on there. And that's all you have to do. And then over, and then we're going to go under. Now, if you start to run out of thread like I am right now, and you're like, oh, but I'm not quite done. All you have to do is just poke your needle down through, tie it off down underneath, tie a knot, and then start again and just start over and just start building upon it. Or you could totally leave it like that. The other thing you can do is you can kind of, if you want it to be fluffier, is you can kind of take your nails and kind of pull those stitches a little bit if you want to fluff it out a little bit as well. But guys, that's how you do the cute woven rose, which looks so cute on this hat. I love, love, love it. So we did 2 with the apricot, and then we did 2 with the butterfly gold. So very, very fun. And you guys, that's all there is. The lazy daisy, the back stitch, the French knot, and that woven rose. And it is just the funnest, cute project. You're gonna have so much fun. When you're done and you're ready to rinse it, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a bowl, and you're going to want to put lukewarm water in your bowl, and you're just going to want to kind of put that stitch pattern in it, and try not to get your bill too wet. You can always wash hats, so if your bill gets really wet, it's okay. But I just liked putting it in my bowl. So you have your bowl of water there, and then this will start to disintegrate. And then once it kind of starts disintegrating, then just kind of roll it over and kind of take and just with your hand, just kind of rub it. And then if you need to get an old toothbrush that, or a toothbrush that you have that you want just dedicated for your stitching, and you can kind of scrub it a little bit with a toothbrush to get the rest of the stabilizer off, but it will come right off. And then all you need to do is just lay it flat for it to dry. The other thing you could do is you could keep this and you could put it back in as it's drying to help hold its shape. The other thing I did when mine was drying is I actually got like a bowl and put it over it so that it kind of still held its shape right here in the top, with a bowl, so that it held its shape as it was air drying. So anyways, you guys, it was so fun to do that, and I hope you guys had fun learning that stitch. I'm going to take my camera off to talk to you guys again and show you again this cute hat. So again, you guys, it's a cute kit. They're going to start shipping out. They come with that stitch pattern that I showed you. So it comes with that, and it comes with your stitch guide, and then you can come back here and rewatch it if you need to. If you're having problems with the live for some reason, then you can come back here and rewatch it. It will be here, it will live here, so when you're ready to stitch, then you can. Anyways, go ahead and click that link above if you haven't already ordered it. And thanks so much for joining us today, so I could show you how to do those cute stitches in the hat. So, all right, you guys, Wednesday we're releasing our cute Easter stuff, so come back for Wednesday and we'll have some fun. Okay, thanks ladies, happy stitching.